Paul Rudd was once named the hottest man alive, courtesy of People magazine. Not only is he a widely loved and successful actor, but he's also a beloved husband and father. Who is his wife? Well, Paul has been happily married to Julie Yaeger for almost 20 years. They've kept their relationship relatively far from the Hollywood spotlight, and have always prioritized their family without having to sacrifice their careers.
I love you very much. Thank you for being such an amazing wife, such an amazing friend, and such an amazing mother.
So how is it that their marriage has stayed so strong over the past 2 decades? Stick with us while we dive into Paul and Julie's love story, and how they've made sure their lives remain as normal as possible despite their growing fame. Paul and Julie met back in 1995, just before he made his big break in the cult classic film Clueless. Rudd, who was 26 years old at the time, was running late for an audition when he arrived in New York and went straight to his publicist's office with his luggage. There was a young woman working there who offered to drop his bags off at his friend's apartment. As it turned out, that woman was none other than 20-year-old Julie Yaeger. A few days later, Paul asked her out to lunch. Paul recalled that the first person he met in New York was his future wife. We started talking and there was a maturity with her. She had experienced some tragedy in her life. I had too. And the impression I got was, wow, this is a woman. The actor explained that he was really taken with who she was and how she'd overcome adversities in her life. He added, there was a perspective that she had and still has on the world that you don't come to easily. It's earned, and most people don't have it at such a young age. Paul had also experienced times in his life when things weren't going well for him. He was once robbed at gunpoint and lost a friend in an auto accident that same year. Then his car was stolen, his rental destroyed in a hit and run, and his second replacement was hit, all in the span of a week. That series of unfortunate events resulted in a meltdown, and eventually, the actor decided to move to New York. Rudd recalled in an interview that it was the Clueless writer and director who told him, "You need to get a publicist." So that's what he did. He set off to the Big Apple to pursue his dreams. So, if it wasn't for his traumatic experiences, he wouldn't have decided to move to New York.
That was a big part of it. I wanted to live in New York because I had just graduated from acting school, and theater is a viable thing in New York, more so than Los Angeles. I was here for a few years, but I thought, I really want to move to New York.
And he might never have met his future wife. Sometimes, it's the difficult things in life that lead people to where they're meant to be. In 2003, the pair said I do after 8 years of dating. Paul Rudd and Julie Rudd had their first child, son Jack Sullivan Rudd, in 2004, followed by daughter Darby Rudd in 2009. Rudd explained in a 2011 interview how he stays out of gossip columns by revealing just how normal he and his wife really are. He shared, "I don't think I'm gonna sell a lot of tabloids. My wife and I have been together for 16 years. My parents were married my whole life until my father passed away a few years ago." Their 2 kids are pretty normal too. When Rudd's then 10-year-old son Jack found out his dad would be playing a superhero in Ant-Man, his response was priceless, saying, "Well, I can't wait to see how stupid that'll be." Rudd said, "I identify myself as a parent and a husband way more than somebody who rides around on the back of an ant." Rudd has always prided himself most on being a family man first. He explained that he didn't come from a family of actors and didn't grow up around famous people. He added, "So when I go to Los Angeles for work, or to a premiere, I like it because it feels like I'm just popping in." And if there's one thing he likes more than being a dad, it's being a dorky dad. My favorite thing is when they roll their eyes because it's such a dad joke, but I know they find it funny. They kind of try to fight a smile. The couple has continued to keep their family lives private, but for those of you who want a glimpse of what the Rudds are like behind closed doors, all you need to do is watch their films. Paul and Julie have actually used much of their family life to inspire their movies. Speaking in 2012, Rudd confirmed he and Julie recorded their unfiltered, everyday conversations to help with the writing of Judd Apatow's film, This Is 40. The movie is a romantic comedy about a married couple struggling with the idea of turning 40.
The subject matter was interesting to me because I am married, I am 40, and I have kids.
Paul shared, "While it's not traditionally romantic, I would say it's arguably romantic in its intimacy. The idea that a couple can do that for each other is very romantic." Paul's character gets a hemorrhoid check in one of the film's more memorable scenes. He explained in an interview that it's about as real as it gets. Rudd explained, "Sometimes in a real marriage, it's about asking your wife to look at this and what does that look like?" He also added that being able to fart in front of each other is what he considers to be a very sweet gesture. The couple also inspired some of Apatow's other films such as Knocked Up and Fun Mom Dinner. When Julie turned to screenwriting, it was only natural she'd use their life as inspiration. While writing Fun Mom Dinner, which Paul executive produced and co-starred in, she wanted to show what a real marriage looks like, so she based some of the scenes on her own family. In 2021, Paul was named People magazine's Sexiest Man Alive. When he found out he had landed that honor, his wife was the only one he told before it was officially announced. He said, "She was stupefied, but you know, she was very sweet about it. After some giggling and shock, she said, 'Oh, they got it right,' and that was very sweet. She was probably not telling the truth, but what's she gonna say?"
Wife we just got the hard copy yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
She went out and bought one.
Nice.
And she asked my kids, "Do you want to read Dad's interview?"
And they said,
Ugh.
However, there's a lot more to him than the title of Sexiest Man Alive. In fact, becoming a father made him realize how important it is for him to express himself. He understood that, as a parent, he wanted his children to know that they could express themselves and be honest with their emotions. So he made sure that whenever he was sad, he wouldn't shy away from crying in front of his children. Paul revealed, "I've experienced more profound moments in my life. My dad dying, being a parent. All of a sudden, your sensitivity is heightened. I see things on TV like Undercover Boss and they knock me to the ground. My kids make fun of me. Oh, Dad's crying again." He's also the kind of dad that likes to lighten the mood by making people laugh. He explained that he always felt like jokes can help a situation, and that it's important that we all just remember to laugh, because life's hard. There's a whole other side to his personality, which he saves for his wife and family. He explained, "In my private life, I'm dealing with all the scars and traumas and real stuff from living my real life. When I'm in public, I'm giving a very filtered, smooth version of it." Paul and Julie are also the proud owners of a candy store in New York with another celebrity couple. Rudd and his wife live in a home in upstate New York, and it just so happens actor Jeffrey Dean Morgan and his wife Hilary Burton also live in the area. Samuel's Sweet Shop was an institution in the town since 1994, but when its owner died, the store fell on hard times, and the Rudds, along with the Morgans, stepped in to save the store. As it turns out, the two men were loyal customers of the store and had gone there for years. Julie revealed how she feels about being an owner of a candy store, saying, "The magic of Samuel's, especially during the holidays, makes me feel like a little girl again." When it comes to the secret of their happy marriage over the last 2 decades, Paul and Julie always make sure to keep their focus on what's important. And for them, that's their relationship and their family. By doing so, they've done what a lot of Hollywood couples have only dreamed of. Their strict priorities have allowed them to thrive in the entertainment world as well. Of course, they also remember the importance of laughter and not taking themselves too seriously. That's why we're pretty sure Paul Rudd and Julie Yaeger will be together for decades to come.